Over to you, Les.
Hello, welcome to This is Tech Talks. Is it the second episode of
Yep.
the year?
Yep.
Nice, and everyone's here. Thank you for joining, Jay Santosh. And today we're speaking to Rohit about DevOps. And I know that you know more about this stuff than me. I'm more of a softcore DevOps engineer. I focus more on developer tooling, developer experience, but also like maintaining environments. But I try to stay clear from things like Kubernetes internals. I don't want to care about that. But I know you're looking into those advanced topics, so I'm excited to hear what you have learned. Welcome, Rohit.
Welcome to the show, Rohit.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction about the DevOps. So it is not that much tough. Like you are already doing awesome, awesome jobs. So I guess you can learn it slowly. But talking about DevOps and myself, so I am Rohit Ghumare and I'm platform advocate at Solo.io. So I am currently known as that DevOps guy on the Twitter. I don't know why, but it got popular nowadays. I recently shifting overall everywhere on talking on these things like cloud native, how you can simplify the cloud native projects and how you can make DevOps engineer job easy. Not easy, but try to help them in some ways, like by using some proper resources. So I recently launched some community named as the DevOps community, where I hosted an entire website on the DevOps community.in, where you can go and check out any resource you want. Like if you want to learn the DevOps, if you want some path to learn the DevOps, you can go there and you can learn about it. If you want to learn some tools in the DevOps, you can learn. If you want to learn the projects in the DevOps, you can get it easily. So it is just a free contributions I wanted to do for the community.
Nice. So, which platforms are you using primarily? Is it YouTube or Twitch? Something else?
Yeah, so currently I'm using the YouTube for I recently launched that Cloud Native series. Like today only I launched first episode of the Cloud Native series. It is known as the Cloud Native Talks. Like it is available on YouTube on my channel, and also I have added that podcast on Spotify. So we will be adding it regularly, weekly, some podcast on the same. The goal is to just sharing the Cloud Native resources. Other than that, I talked about DevOps community and CNCF things. So it is available on my profile. If you go on my Twitter profile, you will get everything there. So everything is available there.
Cool. So we just shared the YouTube link in the chat. So if you want to follow more what Rohit has been doing, just go ahead and subscribe to his channel and do follow him on Twitter. So yeah,
Thank you.
that plus.
Yeah, I gave you a follow on YouTube, but I stay clear of Twitter, so I won't follow you there.
No problem.
Yeah, a lot of negativity on Twitter, right, Lars? It's okay.
Starts at
That's
the
fine.
top. Starts at the top.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice. So, what are you looking into these days, Rohit? What are you
Yeah,
learning?
yeah, like it is one of the tricky question. So currently I'm exploring various things. So when you deep dive into the DevOps world, you come to know about like there is second world which is cloud native space. So when we come to the cloud native space, there are various things around the networking, Kubernetes. Now it is not just about the Kubernetes. Previously it was same. Like last year's KubeCon happened. First time it was different from the Kubernetes. There was trending topic known as the eBPF. Previously, it was just Kubernetes, everywhere. It is Kubernetes. But now technology is advancing further, and there is a revolutionary kernel technology launched, which is eBPF. Then how we can integrate it with various things, like because you can write the kernel level code. So that's why eBPF was trendy last year. So I'm learning about the eBPF only, and then how you can simplify the security. So now there is a term called a zero trust getting trending all over. So what is zero trust? It is like don't trust your security. You first authenticate. You should give some authentication authorization for the same, and then only go forward. You don't have to trust your security, however secure it is. So that's why it is like a nice term, and it is many people in the networking world is trying to learn the same, and I'm trying to help them with the resources and creating awareness on the same. So I am presenting the talks all over on the eBPF and simple ops, service mesh ops, and how you can connect it with the edge computing, and also how you can integrate it with zero trust. So also, as I am giving, so people know, like I'm giving the talks on all over the Istio and Istio Ambient Mesh. So recently, so Istio Ambient Mesh also has a term called as zero trust tunnel, where previously it was envoy proxy. So one proxy was there where you can, so sidecar, like service mesh is just about sidecar. People, as people were knowing about the same, but now it is not like that. There is sidecarless version of the same. So envoy proxy is not there. There is a zero trust tunnel, which is tunnel. So only one proxy is there, which will do everything, communication between entire your pods and stuff. So entire node and one pod will be there, which is your proxy, and that is the stuff. I sorry for going deep down into the same, but that's all I'm working on the same.
I
Yeah,
just
well,
need
we,
another
we
cup of
wanted
coffee.
to, yeah, yeah, because in a minute we're going to ask you to explain it to Santos and Jay like they're five, because I,
Hope for.
I assume, I'm sorry if my assumption is wrong, but I assume that you are more on the rookie side of things when it comes to DevOps and infrastructure. Jay, Santosh, what's your skill level
Um,
in these topics?
Believe me, I mean, when GitHub Actions was launched, I felt like, oh, I'm a DevOps guy now. Then I realized, okay, there's more. Then I said, okay, let's stay out of this.
I've built a large chunk of our DevOps at Trellis, so I'm pretty well versed in. So we use Circle CI, in like a very small sprinkling of GitHub Actions, but Circle CI mostly. And I've done a ton of work with Dockers and custom scripts and build configurations and all that stuff, more than I
Wow.
would have liked, to be completely honest. I'm currently setting up our CI to run an entire testing end-to-end stack of our whole mono repo right now, and then run
Wow.
through like real life full end-to-end tests. So I have more experience than I kind of wish I did, to be completely honest. Yeah, because it's definitely not
Nice,
my
nice.
favorite, but it's really interesting once you actually like delve into it.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, then I'm the odd man out here.
Sounds like Lars, you're a master at DevOps, right?
No, certainly not. But I have been working as part of, you shouldn't call it that, but a DevOps team, maybe a platforms team. I've been part of platforms team several times, so I've
Oh,
been responsible for infrastructure and supplying an infrastructure as code and enabling product teams to not care about these things. I'm more of the front end side of things, but I always do a lot of CI and CD workflows and things like that. GitHub Actions is my favorite. I'm not a big fan of working with Kubernetes. I like serverless more.
oh,
But in my current job, we use Kubernetes because we need to run on-premises setups at events where there's no internet connections. So we have to have something portable, and Kubernetes is great at that.
Mm-hmm.
So the positive side is we also have a local setup that works very well, and it's only using Docker Compose. So that's what we developers use locally, and also what we set up in the CI pipeline. So we're not creating a Kubernetes cluster all over
right.
the place, but we have several environments running Kubernetes clusters, and on premises we set up Kubernetes clusters. So yeah,
Yeah.
we have use cases for something as portable as Kubernetes, but also
Yeah.
the flexibility of it's all containers, so we can also set them up in more lightweight setups with Docker Compose and GitLab container services, or maybe in GitHub, but we're using GitLab. So yeah, I've set up dashboard,
Yeah, that's
used Azure a lot previously. So yeah, that's kind of my interest in
hmm,
DevOps.
that's what companies need to understand, right? It is not like just go and use the popular trending technologies everywhere, and if it is not helping you, then why to use, right? Everyone just switching on random tech stack. If it doesn't help them, like don't go with it. Like why should?
Have
You are right.
you, Rohit? Have you tried GitOps?
Yeah, yeah,
I really enjoy that, and
yeah,
concepts
yeah.
from
Most
that is coming out into various
most
platforms.
What is that? I mean,
most people
could
are
you
using it. Most people are
tell
using
me?
it, and if you see various use cases which are not can be solved by like your let's take example of which we say microservices, and we are doing some microservices connections. So previously it was taking lot of work with other tools. We will not take the name and stuff, but yeah, it was taking the time. But when this new technology was introduced, it is not new technology, but just random projects are introduced. And now you can simplify that deployments and kind of stuff, and you can easily integrate with the deployments also. So if you can do the deployments on the GitOps side, then you can simplify the networking also with it. So that's why it is getting popular, and it is easy also. Not easy, but visualization and kind of a things are given there. So that's why if you want to see the simplified versions, if you want to see the beautiful dashboards and kind of stuff, you can have the ability of a matrix generation and integrate for the observability. So that's why it is nice. Yeah, you can try it.
Yeah, so it seems like we're moving in different circles because you're saying most people use it, and Santos is saying, "What is that?"
Depends on the team to team, right? Santosh is like popular guy in the Angular, so I don't think he needs to use that stuff. Like when it is requirement for him, I know like he will do the greatest job while using it. But depends on the requirements, right? He has no need, so why will he use?
Yeah, probably I can give it a try. I mean, if you can like tell me what tools to use, I can give it a try for sure.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. So just let's start with directly like if you are beginner, like how you can learn about the DevOps, right?
Yeah.
So I recommend everyone to go with the networking fundamentals at the start, because if you don't know the networking fundamentals, then you will get stuck in the future for the DevOps for sure. Yes, if you want to be the good DevOps engineer, if you want to be the good cloud infrastructure stuff, you have to do. If you want to be the good platform engineer also, so you can go with the networking fundamentals. After networking fundamentals, you should learn about the Linux. So learning the Linux is not like essential kind of a thing, but learn the Linux, which will be in essential for you to use the DevOps technology day by day. So like you can learn about the networking commands inside the Linux, how to do the netstat, how to do the TCP dump, how to connect, how can you access the text inside the any file by getting the logs of it, how to access different system by using the SSH. So that kind of a thing, if you know, then it will not just help you for the DevOps, but for the various things in the future, right? So learn according to that. After that, it is like you can go with the YML scripting or learn about the Groovy scripting, Bash scripting, because scripting is essential. It is not just like so programming is also essential, but it is not like you have to learn every programming language. Learn any one language, whichever suits you. So DevOps is not having any compulsion, because you have the fundamentals of any Python. So let's take example like I have learned the Python. So if I know the Python, I have learned the fundamentals of Python. Then in the future, I can learn any programming language. It is just like they have different syntax kind of a thing, right? So programming languages will come today new and previously also, but depending on the what you like, you should use that. So programming and scripting is essential for DevOps world. It is not just like you will go to the some web UI and just scroll over and launch the instance and then go into the instance and do the stuff, because as you deep dive into the scene, then you have to write the code for sure. So like if you want to launch the cloud infrastructure, you have to write the infrastructure as a code for like Terraform, Pulumi. There is another which is Crossplane. So various tools are launching nowadays. Yeah, so it is use any one of them. So we were at the scripting, right? So after scripting, you can learn about the container. So how can I miss the version control system? Git. So learn about the Git because it is first step at what we will doing further, because you will store the projects there. You will integrate everything from your local system with the same. So after learning the virtual control system, you can go with the containers. Learn containerization project or tool, only one of them, not go and try to learn everything. You can learn, you can be learning the Docker, you can go with the cryo, you can go with the podman, whatever suits you. So after you have learned the container, so container is just like you are creating some virtual OS kind of a thing and just sharing the link to anyone who want to access it kind of thing. So that's why we previously were saying like, so that was popular meme, right? Like this things works on my computer but not on manager system, right? So that's why these tools were introduced, and where you can host it on some port and link, and you can give that link directly to your manager, and manager will be happy like, yeah, it is working fine. So that type of a thing it can do. And then if but you are passed to the manager, but manager wants to pass to someone else, right? So if you want to do that, and if you want to distribute it into teams, and you can, if you want to do various things with it, like google.com is there. Google.com people are accessing from various webs, systems and various regions and stuff. But how you can access, like there is some behind it. Different IPs are there. So different endpoints are there. So there should be some scaling, right? So whenever any system is accessing that website, there should be scaling. So then comes the introduction of your orchestration to you orchestrate that containers which you learned previously. So as you learned about the orchestrator, so orchestrator can be anything, like Kubernetes is there, OpenShift is there, and there are others also. But try to learn about open source one, I would recommend, because open source is nice world where everyone is contributing. So you will get new updates, and you will also get opportunity to contribute into the same. Because if you are contributing in the same and you are using in the future, then it will surely help you, right? Open source is like very bright world of today's. So
But
after learning about the,
Kubernetes,
yeah,
Kubernetes and OpenShift are both open source.
yeah, that's what I told. Like, go with the open source, whatever you want. So, but check about how the customer support works, who is helping you, how much, and check how much availability is there. Like, if you post the doubts on the like GitHub discussions or community, if people are solving it. If you post just tagging the Kubernetes or OpenShift on the Twitter, people will solve your doubts. So same on the LinkedIn, right? Tag the folks who which are active in this cloud native space. Depending on that, you should go ahead first, check like how support is there, how much blocks are there, how much documentation is, whose documentation is nice, how you can use that stuff. So you have to solve your use cases only. It is not like you will go to the YouTube, and so YouTube will work for the basic learning, but in the future when you want to go deep dive into the something, then it is like you have to go with your own exploration. So then it will be like, I have learned everything through the technical documentation. So technical documentation best works when you want to do everything from the scratch. So we were at the orchestrator, right? So orchestrator was done. So next step is like you can go with CI/CD GitOps, or there is another thing is cloud and infrastructure as a code. So cloud platform, different cloud platforms are there. You can go with any cloud platform. It is not like I'm good. So people ask this doubt like, which is the so Rohit, which is the cloud platform which has the high demand in the world, and we should go with it. It is not like that. Learn any cloud platform, and then depending on the requirements, if your customer asks like, I don't want to go with this cloud platform, I want to go with this cloud platform. Depending on that, you can learn, because if you know the AWS, so there is a VPC, there is a instance, right? EC2 instance. But same thing when you go to the Azure, GCP, and that kind of thing, there it is named as a virtual machine. So it is not like you have only the names are different. Everything is same. Names are different only. But when you deep dive into the same, then also there are various customer things according to the companies. They will choose whatever that suits you, like cost optimization and kind of a thing. But as a learner, you should not think about this question, I would recommend. After that, infrastructure as code, you can go with anything. There are various open source projects are there: Terraform, Pulumi, Crossplane. Everyone using the different. So Terraform is like there is a language, HCL language is there. You have to no, you don't need to learn that language also. Terraform has an awesome documentation. Go there, copy paste that thing, and you now have the chat GPT also. You can ask the chat GPT to write the like I want to set up this instance, give me the code. So it can give you the sample workspace, sample code, and then depending on your use case, you can edit it. Similarly, Pulumi works better in this case. How? Because you will, if you know the Python language, if you know the Java language, you can launch the infrastructure using your language. So it works with the Python, Java, and various stuff. So similarly, Crossplane is also there, and then you have the CI/CD GitOps. So there are Jenkins. Then you can learn about the Argo CD. Then you can learn about the your GitHub Actions. So there are various things. So India also has one of the project which is Redevtron, which is also getting the hype. So there are various tools and open source contributions in the cloud native space launching. So these are the tools which we mentioned now. After that, it is just your job is to monitor this stuff because you have deployed by the CI/CD and GitOps now, right? But now you want to monitor it because your product is publicly available. You want to monitor it. You have to check the observability. Logs are coming, metrics are coming. Then you have to visualize it, kind of a thing. So then there is a Prometheus, Grafana, one of the tech stack you can choose. Or you can go with the ELK, Elastic Logstash, Kibana, kind of thing. So if you go with the Prometheus Grafana, then you can fetch the query from the Prometheus like SQL queries and push it to the Grafana. You will get nice dashboard and kind of a thing where you see graphs and stuff. So monitoring is done. So if you want to be a job ready DevOps engineer, if you want to go as a beginner for the DevOps interviews, then this is the path you can do and you can get the jobs easily for sure. But if it is not easily like kind of a thing, but you have to go with like sharing the projects in the public, launching the things in the public, doing the open source contribution, doing the learn in public, sharing, making projects which is available to everyone. It is not like you will do the projects and making that available to only you only. That
Wow.
will not work. Yeah. So
Glad
so
I'm writing Angular.
so
And
because thing is like
one thing, Rohit, you mentioned, you said after doing all this, you just have to monitor. I was like, just? I mean, after doing all this, you just need to just monitor it. So I was like, wow.
so
So,
why I will suggest like so nowadays companies ask like DevOps engineer job description is written in this manner. Like you
mhm.
should know the Jenkins also. You should learn the Kubernetes also. You should be expert like 3 years of expert in the Kubernetes for the beginner level kind of a role. And they are not even using the Kubernetes in the company.
Oh, that's, I think this is same last, and Jay, you made me remember, I think few years back it was the same for developers as well, right? So whenever we used to have a developer's profile, okay, we need .NET, we need Java, we need Angular, we need React. I think it's common across, and I think DevOps is a space where
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
still growing, right? I mean, it's just a question, Rohit. I mean, where you define these boundaries, right? I mean, what DevOps a guy should do, or a DevOps person should do, and what is the role of a developer? Because as Lars mentioned, right, he's also doing some of DevOps at his company. We also do some of the GitHub actions, of course, at our company. Jay has been involved with setting up all this GitHub actions and infrastructure as a code. So where you define this, that okay, this is not your area, right? So
yeah.
how you will explain this?
Yeah, first thing I would like to clear. So it was not DevOps is not just about what I mentioned till now. After that, also you have the service mesh. After that, you have the chaos engineering, chaos mesh, and various things are there. But
Okay.
we will not go into the application networking kind of thing. But just a job ready kind of thing I have shared for you. So
Hmm.
coming to your question, Santosh. So there is so nowadays there was a term, if you know, DevOps is a dead, kind of a trending by some YouTubers and some active folks on the Twitter. So I know like some of you hate the Twitter. But yeah, so thing is DevOps is not dead or something. DevOps is a culture, right? But how you can set up the boundaries, it is depending on the use cases. So your team. So some I have seen like nowadays SRE is the role like site
Yeah.
reliability engineer. But some companies like product-based companies, these companies are making this SRE in this manner, like you are 40% you will work with the clients, solving the tickets, and 60% you will only work on the development and operations kind of a thing. So here,
Mhm.
your job will be not that much level of a DevOps work, but more of a support level kind of a thing, because you will be attending weekly kind of a support calls and stuff.
Correct.
And what they will do, they will show us simply solve the client's use cases and that kind of thing. Platform engineering. Platform engineering is for someone who wants to more work in the another background, which is like they want to deep dive into the networking, they want to work on the platform, they want to set up the platform, they want to solve the use cases of the platform operators, users using the platform. So that kind of a thing, then they can call them as a platform engineer. Don't just go with the hype like platform engineering is booming and
Mhm.
kind of thing. Depending on what you are doing currently, then you have to set up that role, because not any job means like this roles doesn't have any proper, what we say, job description made till now.
Yeah.
It is
Got it.
just people are defining it. And DevOps is complete life cycle, like from making it development of your project till the deployment and monitoring and making it testing and stuff, completely comes under the DevOps world. But it is not just like you will directly go and write the Android code and Flutter code and website
Yeah.
code.
Got it.
It is, yeah, you will help them in some manner depending on like you have the development team, but you will help them like how to integrate with other stuff, right?
Mhm.
So after that, you have the CI/CD work, then monitoring work and everything. So I guess
I mean,
that's, yeah.
that sounds good. So, Lars and Jay, how is like distributed this role is, right? How is it is distributed in your organization?
So typically we split things up where so ours is a little funny. A lot of our devs and engineers on our team all share a lot of hats, right? So that we have a lot of full
Mhm.
stack developers, and we're a small team, right? There's only 6 of us, so we lots of people contribute to lots of things. But on bigger teams, the way that I would personally split it up is, you know, developers, right? Not the DevOps people, but the actual devs would work on
Mhm.
things that are affecting the product, right? Their
Oh,
output is the product, right? Whereas then like a DevOps engineer or a DevOps developer would be working on things that affect the delivery of the product, right? That's
oh,
kind of the boundary that I think I would define, right? Where it's because then you
Mhm.
have
Got it.
these very segregated roles where a dev isn't responsible for ensuring that the systems to trigger the build on CI
right.
pass correctly. They're responsible for
Mm.
the build passing, but they're not
Mhm.
responsible for the system actually triggering the build, for example. Right. So
Oh,
that's probably how I would split it up if I was managing a larger team. Now, obviously, that's
yeah,
a very, you know,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
simplified, but
yeah.
there's a lot more
mm,
caveats and intricacies
mm,
when you're actually running a team. But that's kind of the general line that I would.
Yeah,
cool.
somehow like it differs from the companies to companies, like at what stage your company is, like it's in the stealth stage, then it is like set up like it's a SMBs kind of a thing, or it is set up in some manner, or it is scaling kind of a startup, or it is product based company, it has already product available in market. Depending on that, like DevOps thing differs nowadays. But previously DevOps was not an entire word also. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with it. Yeah.
yeah. What about you, Lars?
Well, we are an engagement company, the company I work for. So we are front end heavy. We don't depend on external systems. We our
Ah.
external systems are users. They're the ones putting in data for our systems. But I'm on the kind of the DevOps team. So we're 4 people. 2 of them are working on infrastructure and backend cross-cutting concerns, and 2 of us are working on the front end cross-cutting concerns, and we're all dealing with the CI/CD setups. So, and then some of us are traveling across the world to run these on-premises setups on old school uh, real physical computers and access points and hundreds of iPads and things like that. So yeah, so we are two people in charge of all the DevOpsy stuff primarily, and then 13 other developers just doing product development, and then two of us are focusing on the front end side of the DevOps engineering, if you can say that.
Cool. That's cool. I mean, I still remember my first deployment. So I was working for a bank. So it's a ICICI bank, very big bank in India. And then we had a deployment. So I was like, I had never done a deployment before that. So I was like, okay, let's. And my team said, can you just wait for the deployment? I was like, okay, let's do this. Should be fun. And then what I realized was, of course, 2011, right? When GitHub was not that common. So we had like our own FileZilla. I'm sure Letislas and
Yeah,
Jay
yeah, I
may
know.
remember. Okay, you also remember FileZilla. So
I
we used
know.
to send the code on FileZilla. The
Yeah.
deployment team is actually just downloading the zip, and then they are running the zip on the production server. And I was like, what? This is the deployment. And then they are running the SQL queries manually. So there is, of course, downtime,
Oh,
right? I mean,
right.
so our servers are down for some time, and then everything's running. I'm like, what the hell? How people can do this? I mean, this is a bank we are talking about, right? I mean, it is impacting millions of users, and simply there is a message that website is down, and you can use it like after 4 hours or 5 hours. And that was my first like experience deploying some things. And now if I see this space, right, you have zero downtime deployments. I mean, of
Yeah,
course, uh, I mean, because of all these tools which are available, right? So, of course, I mean, for our
right.
listeners, I mean, DevOps is an amazing space. I mean, I know I love GitHub Actions. I am not a DevOps guy, as I said. I mean, I have been writing some of the GitHub Actions at my work as well as just for fun, because it works, right? I mean, you write something and it works.
Mhm.
You can just download a lot of what you can say GitHub actions from marketplace, use it, and yeah, you feel like you are a DevOps guy. But yeah, that's nice to know, Rohit. I mean, we had a lot of words. I mean, of course, those are the basics which you need to understand as a DevOps person, networking and everything. I remember last time I think I was in college when I spoke about or heard about this all this networking concepts.
Right.
Never used it in my life. So yeah.
Yeah, so if we come to the networking, so I would like to mention like what actually application networking world goes in nowadays. So we at Solo also working in the application networking, right? So Kubernetes, eBPF, GraphQL, and there is another your HTO, Envoy. So these are the popular project, open source projects where application networking is moving all over again and stuff and going all over. So simplifying it is like the if you talk about some popular and profitable companies, they have random innovations, right? So they focus on the innovations only. But when they're focusing on the innovation, there are like various stuff which need to be solved, right? If you work on the multi-cluster kind of a Kubernetes, so setting up one cluster and solving it is okay. But then when there is a multi-clusters and you have to do the secure transaction from one thing to another and moving it through various jobs and kind of a thing, then it gets like really hectic kind of a thing. So that's why there is a service mesh and which will solve your use case. You have to set up your like your manifest and like various files according to your use cases. You have to mention that API gateways. You have to set up that east-west configuration, north-west configuration, and then if you are hard to do this in open source background, then you have the enterprise versions of the various companies. You can go with the same, like we also provide on the same. So that's why I guess open source has changed the world in good manner. Like anyone can contribute from anywhere in the world. So that's why it is nice. And I think so. Yeah, it is booming everywhere. And application networking is also nice world if you want to go after the like learning more into the DevOps. Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yep,
Nice.
let's go
So we got all the buzzwords and all the hype technologies. What else do you want to promote today, Rohit?
Yeah, I just mentioned like DevOpsCommunity.in website. You can use that for learning the resources, whatever I mentioned.
ahead. Yeah. And you spoke about your podcast, so would you like to share some few things and where people can follow? We already shared the YouTube channel in the chat, but what you have been doing with your podcast, can you just
Yeah, yeah.
tell us a little bit about?
So, yeah, yeah. So, what happens when we talk about the CNCF and cloud native space all over? So, when we talk about it, like not everyone in this world is aware on that stuff because people
Mm-hmm.
know popular tech stack only. And when we talk about the communities, they have the knowledge about the communities which are by the product based companies like Google, AWS. They know these communities.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the CNCF, not much people are aware about it. So that's why I host the meetups and events around my regions, and I go to the various regions to give the present the talks and stuff. Similarly, I network with various folks like Santosh and various people who are active in the cloud native space. And then I would like to invite them as a speaker where I will ask them about their space, how they are working on these
Mm-hmm.
things. Like we can invite the GitOps tools CEOs, CTOs also there. I have my friends there, so we can you invite them and then we can talk about the stuff like why they launched this stuff, what was their journey, and
Yeah.
also if we can side by side I am planning for making some workshop series where like they can come and do present entire workshop like 2 or 3 hours of workshop where they will come with a basic project kind of thing which will help learners to learn about this cloud native and create the awareness. So that is overall plan, and it will go slowly, slowly. But editing is really hectic. I come to know today only.
So you are in India.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you're doing these events, all the J Bells of India are coming, all the CEOs and CTOs, or is it virtual?
No, no, it will be virtual with these
Oh,
Uh,
people. But yeah, but those who are here, I will do in the events, but others will be virtual kind of a thing. And yeah, I will be trying to go on the KubeCon and other Cloud Native conference also. So yeah,
mhm.
I will catch them and yeah, come to my podcast.
That's cool. That's nice.
In
So
India's
all the
hard because
best.
it's 11 and a half hours different than me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've done talks in India before. I gotta get
Oh,
up
Oh,
really early in the morning.
yeah, it's same if you're in India, Jay. So I have
Yeah,
given a talk at 4:30 in the morning. So I was like, oh,
yeah,
I
oh.
never wake up at 4:30. I mean, probably I go to bed sometime at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, but never wake up. Cool. So
So
that's
most of the times I have to give the talk at the night.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can
because
understand.
like I work in solo.io, which is yeah, which is in the US. So that's
Uh,
why sometimes I have to wake up at night. And also another thing is my APEC team is most of the our team is in the Australia and Singapore. So they
wow.
wake up too early in the morning according to India time. And US happens in the night of our India. So yeah, it is
Yeah.
like we have to manage in some way where we are learning. So yeah, it is okay.
Cool. So thanks a lot, Rohit, for joining on the show. We learned a lot about DevOps. I mean, different tools you spoke about. So glad to have on the show, and we are looking forward to for your podcast. All the best for that.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
we'll be back on the another episode next week with Sam. Sam is the co-organizer of NGBE conference, and we'll be talking about how we can build communities and his experience on building communities. The time will be different, so we probably we are it's 9 p.m. CET, so probably it will be like very much delayed in India, but yeah, you can always catch the recordings later on.
Sure.
So yeah, thanks a lot, Jay, Lars. Of course, Lars joined us after a very long time, so glad to have you back here. And Rohit, again, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and giving shout out to the Cloud Native Talks. So hope it will be really nice. Like you guys are helping the people. So hope I can help also.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thanks a
See ya.
lot. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.